Hey guys, I'm back. I'm sorry that I've been gone for a while, but my skin's been going crazy as you can see, and I just haven't really wanted to take any pictures of myself. But things have calmed down a little bit, so I'm back. I've tried a whole lot of new products lately, and so I thought I would film a get ready with me video so I could show you a few of them all at once and let you know what I think. So let's get started. I was sent 3 different shades of Makeup Forever's new Water Blend Foundation to review. Most are a little dark for me or a little bit yellow. My preferred shades have a little bit of pink in them, but I'll show you all of them. My preferred shade is R210, this one, and I'll show you what that looks like. Looks like that. And this is Y215, Y225, which is definitely too dark for me. I'm never that tan, but these 2 shades would probably work. So I actually might just start with my fingers. Just get it on there and then blend it in. I figure having bad skin will actually show you what kind of coverage this foundation gives. So there is a silver lining. I'm going to use the Real Techniques sculpting brush to just buff this in. And it's meant for contour, but the great thing about Real Techniques brushes is that you can use all of them for more than one purpose, so they're very cost effective. This is a very light coverage. It reminds me a lot of MAC Face and Body in terms of the consistency, the coverage, the finish. It's just very light, very skin-like, very sheer. You can build it up, but not a ton. So it's actually better for more natural looking days. And you'll want to just top things up with a concealer. So just make sure that's nicely blended in. As you can see, the finish is very natural, very dewy, very nice for the summer, even though in Vancouver, summer is pretty much done. Just buff that in. I never cease to be amazed at how much more difficult it is to do your makeup in a camera viewfinder than in a mirror. It's harder than it looks. Okay, should be pretty good. I will add a little bit more to my beauty blender, why not? Just to up the coverage on my chin, which is where I'm really broken out right now. And my beauty blender, as always, is very, very damp. I get it as wet as I can, and then I squeeze it out. And what that does, in addition to helping with the finish, it also helps keep your beauty blender from really soaking up a lot of product. Okay, that is just about done. Now, I always do my eyebrows after my foundation just to get them out of the way. And I've been using lately I've been using the Anastasia, not the Brow Wiz, but the brow definer, the one with the longer tip. I don't mind it, but I prefer the Brow Wiz because I miss the really fine strokes, the thin strokes that I can do with the Brow Wiz. So I'm just finishing up. I mean, it's fine, it's good, but I'm going back to the Brow Wiz when I finish up the brow definer. And I believe this is in taupe, so the color is good for me. So I'll just turn this way, and hopefully you'll be able to see. Just give the brows a quick brush through first. So as you can see, the nice thing about the brow definer is that it's very subtle, and you can just, it functions a little bit like an eyeshadow, in that you can just pull it right through your eyebrows like this. You don't get to see any individual strokes or hairs, but it does sort of fill them in a nice sort of soft, subtle way. So if that's what you're looking for, go for it. I like to do eyeshadow before concealer, just in case there's any fallout. I can just sort of clean it up. So today I'm going to use the limited edition Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Muse Quad, which is really beautiful. It's a little bit different for her. It's not quite as smoky of an option as most of her other palettes, but it is really nice and light and shimmery for summertime. There's this really beautiful sort of pinky champagne shade champagne shade, a nice golden shade, slightly more purpley shade, and then of course a very glittery golden pop shade. So I'm just going, I've already primed my lids, so I'm just going to take the prime shade and brush that all over the lid. Just to get rid of any discoloration or veins or anything like that. Usually I use the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly to take care of this, but Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadows are so pigmented, like even the prime shades, that you don't really need to. So I'm skipping that step today. So just going to get that all over, lash line to brow bone. If you don't like shimmer on your brow bone, you may wish to steer clear of the Charlotte Tilbury quads, but I love shimmer, so that's what I'm doing. So next I'm going to take this golden shade with a slightly smaller eyeshadow brush and just take that into the outer corner and the crease. And this will make just sort of a nice soft summery eye. Like that. Other side. That was the enhanced shade. Now I'm going to take the pop shade and work that a little bit more into the crease and outer corner. A little bit lower down. And now I'm going to take the smudger brush and just sort of shade the upper and lower lash lines with it. Just a bit. There is a bit of fallout, but that's okay. We'll fix it with concealer. Now I'll take the pop shade. And the pop shade, some people complain about her pop shades not being very pigmented. And the reason is that you're supposed to apply them with a finger and not with a brush. And that really does make a huge difference. As you can see, it's just a really pretty, almost foiled shade. I mean, some of her pop shades are better than others. This is one of the better ones. Probably the worst one in her regular quads is Glamour Muse, the purple one. It's really difficult to see any color, but the rest are pretty good quality. Okay, it's time for eyeliner next. I know this is looking a little bit scary, but just hang with me until I finish the concealer and that'll make a big difference. For eyeliner, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal Iconic Liquid Eye Pencil in Barbarella Brown. It's one of my favorite shades. It's just a really nice dark chocolate brown, a little bit warmer than a black, but just about almost as intense, which I really enjoy. My preference for eyeliner is a gel, but oftentimes when I'm getting ready for work, I'm too lazy to want to wash a brush, so this is a nice alternative. I find that I can't get the line quite as intense, but I just smudge it a little bit with a brush and it's intentional. So I'm just going to run this carefully along my lash line. And I find that these pencils work better when you work a bit at a time. Okay, other side. I'm just going to take a little bit of this liner right on the tip of the eyeliner, like this. Tip of the brush, rather. Just to help me get a little bit more pigment on there when I smudge it out. So I'm just going to take this blush, or this blush is my mirror rather, take this brush and just soften that line a little bit and try to really work it into the eyelashes. There we go, that's pretty good. Now I am going to show you Makeup Forever's new Excessive Lash Mascara. The packaging is really interesting. It comes in a metal tube. I've never seen a mascara do that before. This mascara is okay. Kind of depends what you're looking for. This has a really small, fine brush like this, which is designed to get all of the lashes, which it does. It's pretty good that way in terms of grabbing every lash. For mascara called Excessive Lash, I'm really looking for a really intense volume. This doesn't quite deliver that. Like, it does deliver a good amount of volume, but I like ridiculous volume. So this is okay. One other good thing about it, besides the brush, which helps apply. Like I find that really big brushes are annoying because it makes me more likely to make a mess. Another good thing about this mascara is that it lasts. Like some mascaras really flake or smudge. This one doesn't. It's very long wearing and it is very black, which is nice. So I am going to let you judge for yourself. Maybe you'll think the amount of volume is just fine. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Now when you're putting on mascara, it's really important to remember to put on enough mascara. That's a mistake that people often make, is just sort of brushing on a coat and leaving it. That's not enough. You need to build and build. So go all the way to the root and work in a zigzag motion all the way from root to tip. And I like to rotate the brush when I can to make sure that I deposit all of the product on my lashes that I can. And sometimes I just sort of paint the ends a little bit just to deposit more product on there, and then I go back in with the brush to make sure there's a good amount of separation. So the separation is okay, the volume is okay, the length is decent. So we'll just even this out. And there we go. So one thing I always do, no matter what mascara that I'm using that day, is I layer my mascaras. So I make sure that even if I'm testing one, I always layer mascara like this one on top. This is the MAC Extended Play mascara in Giga Black. The Clinique Lash Power is very similar, and I often use that one as well. But it's got a nice tiny brush to make sure it grabs all the lashes. But the thing I like best about it, besides the fact that it's really good at lengthening and separating, is the fact that it comes off with warm water instead of oil. So it sort of adds a layer of bulletproofness to whatever mascara I'm wearing. So we'll just add a layer of that on top. And in case you're wondering, I do bottom lashes later after my concealer is done. Okay, so that is the eyes done for now. Next, I'm going to take concealer. And my under eye circles are quite dark, at least I find they are. So I always start off with a corrector. So this is my favorite corrector that I've used for under eye circles. This is the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector, and this is a pink. It's in number 1, which is pink. So I just take the nice tiny brush and just start on the inner corner, which is the darkest part. Add a little bit of product there. And just tap that in with my finger, which cancels out most of the dark circles. I find that if I just use a concealer, things can look ashy. So for concealer, I'm doing Makeup Forever again. This is the Ultra HD concealer. I did a video about it a little while ago. I can link that below if you like. Oops, I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit in there. A little goes a long way with this concealer. And just pop that under my eyes, which is where I need a lot of coverage. Boom, boom, boom. Just gonna take some of that in my finger and deal with my chin issues. So I had this terrible, awful breakout for quite a long time. Down my nose, so we're sort of like concealing, sort of highlighting. Just gonna take that down a little bit. And for concealer, I could not get by without my beauty blender. It just goes such a long way towards making sure that things don't look too cakey or too heavy. So we're just gonna blend that in. Spread that out so I can up the coverage elsewhere, because as you remember, the coverage of Water Blend foundation is not awesome. I mean, subjective of course, maybe a light coverage is what you're looking for. One thing I love about the Water Blend foundation is the finish. Like, it just looks very, very natural. And it's good for a skin that's a little bit drier. When my skin is a little bit dehydrated, I don't do so well with the Ultra HD Stick Foundation. Like, I love that foundation in general, but when my skin is thirsty, it just looks cakey and gross and heavy. Like this, my skin is fine. So I'm just kind of blending all over. That concealer is just giving the rest of me a little bit more coverage. Voila! I've been trying to use my cream blushes because I know that they dry out and go bad quickly, more quickly than powder blushes. And that's making me sad. So the problem is I always forget to use it until after I powder. So today I'm going to remember to use it before I powder. This is the Tom Ford, what is it? Tom Ford Cream Cheek Color in Pink Sand, which is really beautiful. I love this blush. Just such a nice, slippy blush with a pink sheen. And after trying many different brushes, I find the best way to apply cream blush is just with my fingers. So I just start in the middle of the area that I want it and blend outward. What I love about cream blushes is just how natural they look. I wish that I didn't need to powder my skin because I would just leave it and it would look so beautiful and dewy, but alas, I don't have the luxury of not needing powder. And I use two different setting powders. One I use under my eyes only, and that is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I like this because it's very finely milled and it's got brightening properties, sort of tiny, very subtle little shimmers that just really helps the light bounce out of these horrible dark circles under my eyes. And it functions a little bit like a highlighter too, like very subtle. And I'll try to just place that in the inner corner to brush out any colored product that might have landed there. So this is the Real Techniques setting brush, which is just the perfect size and consistency and texture for setting under the eyes, in my opinion. I'm going to set the rest of the face with Charlotte Tilbury's Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in No. 1 Fair. I haven't had this for very long, but so far I really like it. So I'm going to use a very big fluffy brush by Makeup Forever and just stamp that on. You didn't want everything to be Makeup Forever. Let's put some variety in there. Because I wear glasses, the skin and the bridge of the makeup on the bridge of my nose often moves around, so I try to minimize that by powdering there very carefully. And we're good to go. So now I'm going to finish under my eye area. I find that adding a little bit of shadow under the eye can really finish the look and bring everything together and make your eyes look a lot bigger. So I'm just going to mix these two shades together, that one and that one. A little bit on this smudging brush, which I bought specifically for applying products under the eye because it's perfect, it's small, and it doesn't scratch too much. It's going to do that very subtly. I'm not quite to the place where I can do a really smoky amount of product under the eyes. I'm just not brave enough yet. That looks okay. Just give that a bit of a blend. Make sure it's really soft. The best mascara for lower lashes I found is the Extended Play mascara that I was using earlier. So we'll just do that very carefully in an attempt not to make a mess. We're almost there. As I get better at this, I'm hoping videos will be shorter and shorter. And my favorite contour powder lately is the Sculpting Powder by Kevyn Aucoin in Light. I used to have medium and it was okay. It was a bit dark, I had to take a light hand. When they came out with this new light one, I knew this was for me, so I sold my medium one, fully committed to this. And it's really nice because it's got a little bit of pink in it, a little bit of beigey pink, and it's just a little bit more natural for someone who's very fair like me. So I'm just using the Charlotte Tilbury sculpting brush, which is one of my favorite brushes for contouring, if not my favorite. Just gonna put a little bit of that in the hollow of my cheek, both sides. Now we're going to just give like the tiniest bit of warmth. I really like to use the MAC 135 bronzing brush. I was inspired by a Jaclyn Hill tutorial and Makeup Forever's Pro Bronze Fusion Bronzer. It's very subtle. You can hardly see it, doesn't look powdery at all. So I just sort of take that, all the areas that you would typically bronze, and it just gives the teeniest, tiniest, most subtle bit of warmth to the skin. Like, you can hardly see it, which is part of why I like it. Just to give the face a bit more dimension. And now for highlighter. One of my favorite highlighters is this one by Laura Mercier. It is Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. It's just really, really beautiful and subtle. You get tons of product. And I like to use this nice big fat fan brush by Makeup Forever. Picked it up at IMATS. And I'll just sort of brush it on like that. Just a bit. I don't like to go crazy with the highlighter because I do have some texture issues on my face. For the lip, I am going to go fairly nude and just line my lips with Marc Jacobs eyeliner, Marc Jacobs lip liner in Primrose, which is a very subtle nude. And for my lipstick, I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Hot Lips lipstick in Secret Salma. It's her matte formula, which I really like. It's probably the only matte lipstick that I find comfortable enough to wear on a regular basis. Just gonna make sure that's even. And that is it. We are good to go. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you a good idea of some of the newer products I've been using, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for reading my blog, watching my videos. Take care. Bye-bye.